So we ended up going 4 for 4 on the day, having a flawless victory. I'm going to be walking you through the overall trades that we ended up making. The best trade that I ended up making on the day was buying SPY call options at the exact lows during the power hour trading session. I'm going to walk you through the unique trading strategy that I use to profit on call options. Now, before we get into that, I want to do a quick breakdown on some new levels of interest that we're going to be watching heading into tomorrow that we are planning to trade at. Let's get straight into the market analysis. So in terms of where we are at and the overall micro price action of the market, we are at a key critical make or break level on the SPY, man. So we're going to go back to July 30th, and you could see if you look at July 30th, we had a lot of consolidation, a lot of support, a lot of resting here towards this 543.75 level. And then once the SPY broke above that level and reacted as support, we quickly went up to 551. So with that being said, this is currently make or break. And if we can just react as support and continue to hold above this overall zone, the zone is going to be right here. This 542 key support level where the previous closing price was, and this 543.75. That's going to be your overall zone heading into tomorrow. If you are seeing bullish 30-minute confirmations, you're seeing bullish 30-minute trend reversal confirmations on the 30-minute chart, you're going to want to be buying call options because therefore the SPY should continue to uptrend and it should really start to push to the overall next levels. And in terms of those overall next levels, it's going to be 547.50, and then above that, you're looking at 551. So with that being said, that's what you need to be looking into in terms of tomorrow when buying call options. You need to be looking for bullish 30-minute confirmations if we drop back down towards the gap, 543.75, and also this key make or break support level for 542. Now, the way I see it in terms of how the market has been overall trending up, this could take until Friday for this big move to overall happen. We could shop a little bit before, but overall, as long as we are maintaining above that zone, 542 to 543.75, we're going to have a bullish move by Friday. So tomorrow could just be an overall choppy day, and then Friday can be the big move. But overall, man, a big move is coming by Friday. So pay attention to that make or break zone. Now, in terms of the bears, I'm really not too interested in buying put options at current levels. For them to gain full control, we're going to need to see a nice crack under this 541 level. You can see right here, this 541, this is make or break. If it can crack and then form red bearish 30-minute confirmations, trend reversal bearish 30-minute confirmations, we're going to start to slip back down towards that 536 overall zone. So in terms of buying put options at an overall higher level, I would be keeping an eye on this 553, 554. You got a lot of major resistance right here. But below that, I'm really not interested in buying put options unless we did get that massive key breakdown under that overall 540 to 541 overall zone if it looks really bearish in between that zone. So that's going to be the overall price action analysis heading into the market a night before. Now, with that being said, this is what I wanted to go over in terms of the overall trades. So let's get straight into the analysis, man. And like I said, in terms of tomorrow, I genuinely believe the best thing we can focus on is buying oversold dips. So I'm telling you, man, just keep an eye on 542, even if you see support forming at 541 and 543.75. Keep an eye on these overall zones. Right now, the market's gapping up. I genuinely believe heading into tomorrow, best thing we could do is focus on buying an oversold dip. But Friday, it could take until Friday for a massive move to overall occur. Tomorrow could be a little bit chop in a sense where possibly the SPY has a nice pullback from 547 or even 549, has a nice pullback towards one of these resistance levels, and then there should be a good dip buying opportunity setting up. But just make sure you're scalping, you're getting in and out within like overall 30 minutes, sometimes an hour. Make sure you're setting profit stops, you're getting stopped out for overall profits. But with that being said, let's break down the overall trades. So in terms of the trades that we ended up making, you guys are well aware that one of the levels that I was targeting to buy put options was at the gap. I made it very, very clear over a week ago, if we get a red bearish 30-minute confirmation at the gap, you're going to want to scalp put options. So there was an overbought gap waiting to fill above right here at 543. Once the SPY filled the gap, we did get a red bearish 30-minute confirmation. And if you were to buy put options, using that strategy, you would have been on the opening of this 30-minute candlestick, which was 541.50. You would have bought the put options, and it did go to 540.84. So in a sense, if you bought 541 puts, that could have been a very nice scalp to sell in the money very, very quickly, and you set your profit stops when you're up like 15% to ensure you don't go green to red and you get stopped out for profit. So in a sense, you could have done a nice quick scalp from the overall level, and then even later into the day, this ended up dropping to 540.12 from the gap. So the unique gap close reversal trading strategy that I created did end up working when we did get this red bearish 30-minute confirmation. In terms of overall bullish momentum, you can see once we started getting these green bullish wicks, this right here is a very nice confirmation. If you were seeing a very bullish green wick and the closing of that overall candle is at or above that previous closing price, odds are it's going to start to uptrend. And then you can see we had a very similar pattern throughout the day. If you study this overall move, we had this red candle right here. We had this red candle right here. In between that, you had a nice green bullish wick slanted move to the upside, a nice green bullish wick slanted move to the upside. And then you could see whenever the SPY formed this red candle closing in the middle, red candle closing in the middle, red candle closing in the middle, the next 30 minutes was extremely bullish. Had a small drop, had a small drop, had a small drop, and then a very strong bullish green closing candle, a very strong bullish green closing candle, a very strong bullish green closing candle, which is the exact reason why I ended up buying call options at 3:34 p.m. So in terms of the personal trades that I ended up making at 3:34 p.m., I ended up buying SPY call options at the exact lows. I bought 543 calls for 45 cents a contract. These calls, they were literally only 10 cents out of the money. I was not expecting a massive move. When I bought these calls, the highest I was thinking was 543 to 543.20 to 543.60 close. So I wasn't expecting too big of a crazy move. That's why I went so close to in the money in a sense. If I'm not expecting a massive move, then I'm not going to go further out of money in a sense. But I bought these calls at 45 cents a contract, these 543 calls, and I got in at 3:34 p.m. And if you take a look at the overall option chart, you're going to see we bought these calls at the exact low. Look at this. This is 3:34 p.m. We bought these calls at the exact low in the 40-cent range. They quickly went to 160 at the speed of light, man. So with that being said, that was an overall phenomenal trade. I ended up selling at the 71 cent range for like 70%, nearly 70% profit return on that. And then I did end up rebuying calls. I made it very clear at 3:41 p.m. that we can close at 543.60 today. I was expecting a strong bullish 30-minute closing candle. I made it very clear at 3:34 p.m. when I bought the calls. The 30-minute candle is supposed to close strong and bullish above 543.20. The game plan is to add to calls on dips. This is an amazing entry to be getting in at 3:34 p.m. The exact lows on the overall calls. And then as soon as I got in, like 2 minutes later, the calls ended up going in the money, and they quickly went to 71 cents at the speed of fucking light. In 10 minutes, I got out at 71 cents a contract. Then they went to 160. And then I ended up rebuying calls on the dip because the game plan was the 30-minute candle was going to close strong and bullish. So I ended up rebuying calls at 3:47 p.m., same strike. I got in at 56 cents, so 11 cents higher than the previous trade. And then I ended up selling at the speed of light to 73 cents, and they did end up going very rapidly to 160 a contract. So that was two phenomenal trades on calls. Why call options? Like I said, it had to do with the overall 30-minute chart. So in terms of one of my unique trading strategies, I'm simply capturing 30-minute patterns. I'm going to walk you through these overall patterns, man. So in terms of patterns that you could have captured, you can see right here, we had the green, red, green pattern. And like I told you, if you're seeing a bullish green, red, green pattern, and you can see green, red, green, this right here is previous resistance on the SPY, break above the resistance, green, red, green, bullish pattern, buy call options towards the opening of the next 30 minute, buy call options when this closes 30-minute green and bullish after the green, red, green pattern. Phenomenal trading opportunities on calls. And we did end up buying calls. You could see right here, in terms of the trades that we've ended up making earlier into the day, you can see right here, it was very simple to buy call options above the dips at 542 if we're getting those bullish 30-minute confirmations. And in terms of the first trade we ended up making, we ended up buying towards market open. Literally every single morning trading session inside of Team Roar has been green, buying cheap far, low risk, out of money option contracts. We're known for selling them deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains with the highest win rate in the game doing this. We ended up buying 545 SPY calls for 67 cents a contract. In terms of those calls, we ended up adding to those overall call options. I'm going to show you, man. So we ended up adding to those call options at 29 cents. We got in towards that 67 cent range. They dropped all the way to 29 cents. We ended up averaging our cost down. Normally, we do not do that, but in certain situations we did. And in terms of that overall trade, we ended up getting profit stopped out at 95 cents a contract, printing at the speed of fucking light, man. And then in terms of the next overall trade, we ended up buying 542 SPY calls at 1:06 p.m. at 58 cents, and then we held to a close. They went to 75 cents a contract, man. This is the beauty of buying cheap, low-risk overall contracts. You do not use stop losses. You can hold those overall contracts. Those calls, those 542 calls that we bought at 58 cents, those ended up dropping to 10 cents, and we didn't get stopped out because the most we're putting into the trade, the max risk per trade, is if it goes to zero. We just let it expire worthless. There is no stop loss. And those 544 calls went from 10 cents to 80 cents. We got out towards the exact fucking peak on those, man. So with that being said, that is the overall beauty of setting profit stops. They went in the money multiple times on the overall day. You get stopped out for fucking profits, and we don't use stop losses. Our max risk on the overall contracts is if they expire worthless. So if they go to zero, that's our max risk per trade. Just as any trader has. Any trader has a max risk where they're looking to risk, 1%, 2% of their account on the trade. Well, the difference between us and them is if our contracts expire worthless, then we lose our max risk per trade. But the contracts can come back to life and go in the money later throughout the day, meaning those dead plays that drop 50, 60, 70, 80%. These calls went from 58 cents a contract to 10 cents, and then they exploded to 80 cents at the speed of fucking light during power hour. And then we set our profit stops when we're up 15, 20%. We get stopped out for fucking profits, man. The dead plays, 70% of the time, the trades that drop over 50%, they tend to come back to life, man. It's a completely different, unique overall trading system that we've created, man. And I'm going to walk you through some of the overall trades. So in terms of simple breakdowns for buying call options, I already explained to you in terms of the calls, why buy call options early into the morning. Like I said, man, we had this resistance right here at 541. In terms of the overall game plan, buy calls at 542. We had a gap to fill at 543, likely going to fill the gap. We're getting those bullish 30-minute confirmations. And you can see right here, we have all this resistance at 541. We have a clean break above resistance, and then you have the green, red, green pattern, which is bullish. The new floor is above the previous resistance. So the green, red, green pattern ended up working out once again. The new floor right here was above the previous resistance. It's going to try to retest the highs of this wick at 543, like I teach you all the time. And you could see the green, red, green pattern was working all day. You had the green, red, green pattern right here, bullish wick at the previous closing price, and the resistance was right here at 542, 542. Very nice breakout, drops back down, green, red, green, another bullish uptrend. And if you just look at the overall comparisons, every single time today, we have this red bearish candlestick in the middle, red bearish candlestick in the middle, red bearish candlestick in the middle, right? Every single fucking time we had that red bearish candlestick in the middle, the SPY had a small drop, had a small drop, had a small drop under the previous 30-minute wick, and then it bottomed and it closed that 30-minute bullish candlestick strong in green. So when I saw this, I was looking at the overall chart. I'm saying, dude, history just keeps on fucking repeating itself. We have nonstop green, red, green patterns. The new floor is above previous resistance. The new floor, green, red, green, is above previous resistance towards that previous closing price. It reacted as resistance for an hour. And the overall trend, man, whenever we had this red bearish candle in the middle, red bearish candle in the middle, red bearish candle in the middle, we began to bottom out, small drop under the previous 30-minute red, small drop under the previous 30-minute red, small drop under the previous 30-minute red, and then a strong bullish 30-minute candle close, a strong bullish 30-minute candle close, a strong bullish 30-minute candle close, a bullish uptrend to the upside, a bullish uptrend to the upside. The patterns were there to buy call options, man. If you would have used what it is that I've been teaching you, it's the same exact pattern. Wait for a break above 30-minute resistance. When it drops back down, look for a floor above the previous resistance. Look for the green, red, green pattern. Buy call options towards the opening of the next 30-minute candle. Green, red, green pattern. New floors above previous hour resistance right here. Buy call options towards the opening of the 30-minute candle. It's consistently working and printing at the speed of fucking light, man. But one of the main reason why I was expecting another green, red, green to form in the last 30-minute candlestick to close strong green and bullish is simply because every single time this red 30-minute candlestick formed, red 30-minute candlestick formed, red 30-minute candlestick formed, it ended up going green, red, green, green, red, green, green, red, green. And also in terms of entry, the way I identified the entry is once the SPY has a small drop under that previous bearish wick, it tends to bottom out. That tends to be the bottom. So as soon as I noticed that the SPY went under that 30-minute wick at 542.85, I told myself I have to get in on these 543 calls because they're likely going to start to go in the money. And then in terms of the overall target, the way I found my overall target was I simply looked at the overall chart and I said, okay, there's some previous support right here that has not been retested. You have some support right here towards this. This was the level right here. You had support here for 3 minutes at this 543.60, 543.70 level. It had a nice drop, never retested support. So the overall target was once it spikes back up to that previous support level, I'm going to sell the move and lock in profits. And then you could set profit stops as well, leave runners, move your profit stops up as well. So that was the overall day, man. This was a very simple day to be buying call options. So the 543 level ended up working out for puts. I gave you the plan. I gave you the game plan. If you would have waited for the red bearish 30-minute confirmation, you would have been in on puts at 541.50, and it ended up dropping all the way to 540. And then in terms of the strategies that I've been teaching you, you identify a resistance level. There's resistance right here at 541. You have a very nice breakout above 541 to 543.40. If it drops right back down, overreaction to the downside, look for a bullish 30-minute confirmation. Green, red, green, bullish wick, higher closing on the 30-minute candle, buy call options at that previous closing price, ride it up a little bit, sell into the move, set the profit stops, great opportunity for calls. And then if you would have looked again, green, red, green, look where the new floor is. The new floor is above the previous closing price, right? The previous floor was right here at 541, which was this previous resistance. Not only is it breaking out, but it's forming high floors, green, red, green. And then if you just look at this overall trend, you could have said green, red, green, it's going to go overall bullish, buy the dips, green, red, green, it's going to go overall bullish, buy the dips. And then this slanted overall 30-minute bullish pattern, If we're getting all these green 30-minute candles, history is bound to repeat itself. I mean, just look at this pattern, man. It's literally identical. If you are not seeing this stuff in real time and capturing this, you genuinely don't have your third eye open, man. And nobody's teaching you this because this is how it is that I trade. This is I'm showing you exactly in terms of the way my third eye sees the overall market, man. You have to capture these trends, these patterns in real time. This history tends to repeat itself, man. The green, red, green, slanted uptrend, eventually massive breakout. Green, red, green, slanted uptrend, very chop, very boring, but very strong bullish 30-minute confirmations above this previous hour resistance. It's bound to have a nice breakout, sell into the move, right? And then you can see again, green, red, and then in terms of buying call options, it's likely going to close strong bullish and green, forming higher support as soon as it goes under this 30-minute wick, as soon as it goes under 30-minute bearish wick, buy call options, buy call options, buy call options. The pattern repeated itself 3 times on the fucking day. Of course, I'm going to be buying call options. That history is likely going to repeat itself, man. Take a look at this. Now, in terms of the SPX call options, like I said, so I underestimated this play. My overall target was 543.60. I was not expecting it to go above 544. It did end up going to 544.70. So in terms of that overall play, I underestimated, but I had 2 very nice wins at the speed of light on that using the 30-minute and the 1-minute overall patterns. But take a look at this, man. If you would have bought SPX calls, take a look at these SPX calls. These SPX calls, 5450 strike. Like I said, I wasn't going extremely far out of the money because whenever I go out of the money, my intent is to typically sell it in the money. That's the main intent when I'm going out of the money, right? So I wasn't expecting it to have such a massive move like that. And also, I don't like buying SPX that early into the 30-minute candlestick. Typically, what I can do on SPX is I can buy SPY calls first, and then if they don't work out, SPX calls will be like double to triple the price, and I could just make it all back and more buying SPX calls later when they're more decayed, right? Typically, I don't get in on the exact 30-minute candle that early on SPX. I'll buy SPY first. If SPY doesn't work out, then I'll just go with SPX later when they're cheaper and make it all back and more, man. But look at this. Those SPX calls at 3:35 p.m. were at 120. They ended up spiking to 1,100 a contract in 20 fucking minutes, man. And the 544 calls, those were at 10 cents. They ended up spiking to 80 cents. So look, man, I'm going to leave it off at that. For those of you who are serious about trading with us and printing with us at the speed of fucking light, it's going to be the first link down below within the description. If you want to join us and trade with us, trade alongside us inside of Team Roar, you get access to all of our real-time options trade alerts. You get access to the real-time options trade alert system. You can ask us questions, and you can also chat and network alongside members, man. The group is absolutely amazing, man. I love the group that we currently have. It's absolutely amazing. For those of you who do want to be a part of our community, it is the first link down below within the description. In terms of what we've mastered and what we're known for doing, we buy cheap, far, low risk, out of money option contracts. The contracts are so cheap and so low barrier to entry, you don't need to set a stop loss. If you can't afford to risk $45 on SPY calls to make $180, then don't trade. Like I said, the contracts are so cheap. We put in our max risk per trade, and if they expire worthless, they go to zero, we lose our max risk. Could be 1%, could be 2% of your overall account, right? Depending on how much money you have in the overall account. But what we mastered is buying cheap, low risk, far out of the money option contracts. We are known for selling them deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains within the market. Lowest risk, lowest barrier to entry. So for those of you who are serious about gaining access to our real-time options trading alert system, the number one focus inside of Team Roar is to create the best options trading alert system that can consistently make everyone money. And then in terms of some background to the overall system that we have, we are known for setting profit stops. When we are typically up 15, 20% on the trade, set the profit stops. We do not go green to red on the overall trade. We'll get stopped out for overall profits. You can move your profit stops as well to continue to maximize your move while leaving runners, while selling into the move. And we do not use stop loss. The risk is so fucking low, there is no need to use a stop loss. Like I said, those SPY 544 calls went in the money multiple times on the day. Do you realize we got in towards that 58 cent range? They dropped to 10 cents. And then into the close, they went to 75 fucking cents. Using a stop loss is going to get you stopped out the vast majority of the time. This is why traders lose. They use stop losses, and they're typically using stop losses because they're putting in so much equity into their trades. They're risking so much. The only way within this market is to not use a stop loss is to buy something that is so cheap and so low risk, cheap, far out of the money option contracts. These contracts are the only way possible where you can remove the stop loss. You can put in your max risk per trade. And if it goes to zero, you lose your max risk. You let it expire worthless. Like I said, 70% of the time, the dead plays that drop, 50%, 60%, 70%, they come back to life and go in the money inside of Team Roar. And then when we're up, we set the profit stops. We do not go green to red. We get stopped out for green when we are green, making winning a personal choice, man. So it's nonstop fucking winning over here. And I can assure you, inside of Team Roar, nearly every single morning trading session is green, and I've been absolutely killing it during the power hour trading session. I had 2 phenomenal trades during the power hour trading session. So with that being said, for those of you who are serious in terms of trying out this unique options trading alert system, it's going to be the first link down below within the description. Like I said, cheap, low risk, far out of the money option contracts. We're known for selling them deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains. We do not use stop loss. We hold the contracts for a very long period of time. So it's going to take time to adjust to this unique trading system. It's going to take time. We hold trades for a much longer period of time. We begin to sell and lock in gains when our cheap far out money option contracts start to go in the money, right? So it's going to take time to adjust to this new style of trading. You're not going to be using stop losses, and you're going to be holding trades for much longer. For those of you who actually know how to trade, you can hold a trade for very fucking long. A lot of people, they don't know how to hold their fucking trades. So they size in really fucking big, they set a stop loss, and they make a small fucking win, and they get stopped out a fuck ton. Over here, we're doing the complete opposite of everyone, and we have a 95% win rate doing this. So if you want to see the real fucking deal, I can assure you, it's inside of Team Roar. It is the first link down below in the description. You're going to get access to my trades. I'm mainly trading towards the power hour trading session. I will typically have possibly one trade during the middle of the day as well. But my main focus is trading and master that power hour trading session. And then you're going to see G-Roar. He tends to trade all throughout the day. You're going to see every single morning session. G-Roar absolutely crushes it, man. So if you want to get access to this real-time trading system that we've created, it is the first link down below within the description, man.